So we're working on fiber projects with all of my classes. Today we'll be starting with 5th grade. So I wanted to show you a few of the weavings that our 5th graders are working on. All right, our 4th graders are working on these amazing little needle felted breakfasts. So for 2nd grade, their fiber project is the classic paper plate weaving. All right, these little pendants are pretty intense. So our 3rd graders are working on these little cord wrapped rainbows. All right, here we go, walking into school on this Friday. Let's do it. The whole morning is about buttons, let's be honest. First, get these lights on. These are like outlet switches that I have, so it just turns on all of my outlets, like my little light switches and my lamps, and then even like my little strip lights back here just to help brighten my space. Good morning, art teachers. I am Sarah Krajewski, elementary art teacher in Cambridge, Wisconsin. Today, all my students are working on fiber projects, so I'll show you how I organize those materials. I will show you how we work on our sketchbooks, because that is a fun new addition we've been doing this year, and I will show you our magical art room. Just a snippet. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Art of Education University so you can see more day in the life art teacher videos just like this. So, let's go! Hey y'all, I'm in my little calm corner here and I wanted to talk to you about sketchbooks for just a second. Sketchbooks have been a game changer for how I teach in my classroom. This year in particular, we started doing sketchbook prompts for 5 minutes at the beginning of every art class. It helps us kind of get warmed up, get our drawing muscles super strong, and then really work on focusing for 5 minutes so that they can kind of get in the zone a little bit, and it starts with a calmer energy. I want to show you how the sketchbooks are organized and sort of how we go through our prompt for each day. I do create sketchbooks with every single grade level, including kindergarten, especially because when I have a substitute, if I am needing a quick sub-plan, I can always encourage the substitute to work in sketchbooks, and I know I've got that already ready to go. So let's grab 2nd grade and see how they're organized. So all of the students have their name on a little sticker on the front so they can find their sketchbook really easily, and each of them is connected together with a long piece of elastic, partly because if we ever need to refill our sketchbooks, we can just slide in a long piece of paper instead of needing to re-staple in things. Catch your interruption and put it in the air. Okay, let's start with our mantra so that we can be strong and ready to begin our art class. I need a friend to pick whisper, silent, or strong. Aletta, which way?
Silent.
Silent, what kind of motions? Tiny, medium, big?
Tiny.
Okay, tiny motions. Silent voices, think it in your head together. Here, wait, go. Thank you. Today for our sketchbook prompt, we are going to be creating a new animal. You can invent the name of your animal. You can pick the 2 or 3 animals you are combining together, but you're going to be a creative artist to think about what you could do to draw multiple things at the same time. Art doesn't always need to be serious. Sometimes it's just a creative exploration. 5th graders are working on some basic sort of lap weavings where we're doing some basic weave, working on raya knots, making shapes, and they're going to start by getting their loom warped today. So I wanted to show you a few of the weavings that our 5th graders are working on. We typically focus a lot on just a basic weave, doing some raya knots, and then also just adding shapes and seeing if they can make shapes kind of incorporated into their weaving. We typically keep them pretty simple, but let the yarn sort of dictate what it looks like just based on really finding the colors that speak to them. So I just tell them to leave their little tails out, and then we can either loop with a needle or even just tape in a pinch those tails to the back. And then I also like to use a little dowel just to lift up those warp threads as they weave. I feel like that really helps them to make it a little bit easier as they bring that weaving needle through their loom. So this is the what's in progress for our 5th grade friends. Okay, reflecting back on today, let me tell you the most ridiculous thing that I did today, which was had an everything bagel for lunch, and then check the mirror. Of course, there's seeds everywhere. So in my classic attempt to try to fix myself up before my class comes to the door, literally grabbed a paper clip and plucked the seeds out with a paper clip. This is the highlight of being an art teacher, is the supplies are at your ready. It was a clean paper clip, don't worry. But wow, if that doesn't tell you a story about my Friday, I don't know what does. Class.
Yes.
All right, our fourth graders are working on these amazing little needle felted breakfasts. The very first day, I have students just make a needle felted heart because I think it's a good, somewhat simple but somewhat complex shape for them to understand how to needle felt. So a lot of them are using kind of the base of felt and cutting out a shape and then needle felting into that little design with their needle from their needle felting. So this is how I organize them, just in one of the foam blocks. And then each fourth grader has a matching number for their class. So when they work in the art room, they always just grab the number that matches their class number. And then at the end of art, just tuck that back in, and I'll always check the needles back in. These are cute little breakfasts. They're looking awesome. So my friends, when we start doing our needle felting today, you're going to pick your materials from Mabel the Table. But look at my little baby egg, my little baby bacons. They're so small, like the size of half of a hand, right? Itty bitty little pieces. So we're making a mini breakfast today, and we're gonna be thinking about how we can combine the felt and the roving. So if I've got this little one that I wanna have my little egg yolk here, I'm gonna get it into that circular shape a bit and then start pressing so that it secures itself together. So we should be able to hear that satisfying sound, but remember to be mindful about where your helper hand is. But that's sort of what we're looking for with our needle felting. Fourth grade, it's time to clean up. Go! Okay! All right, y'all, welcome to my art room tour. As you enter, you can see the learning targets board and then our volume chart, which has been super helpful for us as far as what level we should be working at. One of my classes was super chatty today, so I moved them to a whisper for most of their class time, and I'll just usually give them a reminder saying, all right, friends, next 5 minutes, we're working at a whisper, and I will shake our little glitter jar here, so that's a visual timer for them. Over here is Mabel the Table. She's amazing. She helps us with everything, and you know that I like to name things in the art room because it helps me remember, and the kids think it's really weird. We also have our little propagation station, and these are plants that we will be actually planting in ceramic pieces we'll be doing later this year. So it's fun to use them as decoration in our art room and add a little greenery while we are learning throughout the school year. I'm also lucky enough to have a lot of big boards in my classroom, which is amazing, but sometimes kind of intimidating. So I added this one this year, which is all about practicing awareness. Oh, hey. So this one reminds the students about how they can check in with themselves, really focusing on those SEL type needs. And I'll bring this up most days about really checking in on their awareness, what they're noticing around themselves, and then giving them clues for how they can actually advocate for something they need. As we move around the art room, the drying racks are over here. Of course, yes, they all have names. This is Tall Zach. He's very friendly. Here we've got Big Mac, and then Lil Jack, if you can see it, is back there. So that's helpful because I can just tell the kids, all right, go set it on Tall Zach, and then we have our drying rack. This is probably one of my favorite boards in the art room. I just love the brightness, and then paired with the mosaic. The mosaic was created by 4th and 5th grade art club students a few years ago, and it is directly attached to the wall. But I just love it, and I think it gives us a little bit more like mindful interest to look at when we're washing hands. And then in this part of the art room, we have our mantra. So I made these big banners out of felt. Most of the kids know the mantra now. So we have our big friendly loom, which is something students can work on when they have free choice in the art room. So this is a completed rug, and this one is in the middle of being taken off the loom. And then as we end towards the back of the art room, I have all of these beautiful collections of artwork from other art teachers and artists that I love. And then I just call this the little table, which I use for things if I need to hot glue or collect stuff that's not at Mabel the Table. That is our art room. It has taken many years to make it what it is, but I feel like it's a great place for our students to create. Every year I change it up a little bit, and this has been the best it has been so far. So for 2nd grade, their fiber project is the classic paper plate weaving. So they created this loom. We talked about how you're essentially going to just like create this spider web and then continue around the outside from their weaving. So I think they're super fun, and it's a really good way for kids to feel this ownership over weaving, but it not be so intense as something like a lap loom. And they also can sit wherever they want in the art room, and it's nice to have something that's a little bit more portable. I store them just in a big old basket and then just pull the basket out when I need them ready for the kids to weave. Class, class, class.
Yes, yes, yes.
First thing we're going to do is put our little tail right on the back like this. We need a little tiny piece of tape that I'll have over for you at the little table, and you're going to tape that to the back. Then I will get you a big, huge, long piece of string. So the first step is to try to have it go straight across our plate, cutting it right in half. Okay, then I'm gonna wrap and go right next to where my last spot was. So I make a tiny little skinny little X. Okay, that's step number 2. Keep wrapping, and I'm gonna make a tinier, even skinnier little X, but with 3 lines on both sides. And I'm gonna keep going back and forth until I get my whole part wrapped. Then I'm going to tape it at the end once I get done, and that's gonna keep all my pieces together. So that was a lot. There's 3 hours back to back with all my classes on my Friday morning, and I'm feeling very like overstimulated. So I think I'm gonna take just a few minutes, get everything organized. I have a couple friends that just like needed some help with their weavings, getting it warped properly like this. So I am going to do just a few little cleanup things, and then I'm actually gonna do a 5-minute meditation in my back room on my quiet secret little couch, just to cool myself down a little bit and get prepared for kindergarten that's coming soon. So my kindergarten friends sometimes struggle with personal space. So I have been doing little Velcro stars on every other circle spot, and that tends to just help to give us a little bit more space. Stay right on your star and look at Mrs. K. Okay, so that we can hear the voices. Okay, take a deep breath with me first.
My mantra, I am positive, I am creative, I am mindful, I am amazing, I am an artist.
Okay, so I'm just about to take my lunch, but I always get set up for my class that's right after lunch because otherwise they're at the door and I'm not prepared. So I know yarn management is kind of intense, but I've always just saved these boxes and wrap all of the yarn that I have collected over the years around those little cones on the inside. So you can see that it's just like a little, oh, hey, purple, but that it's just a yarn wrapped cone. And then when you close this down, the kids can just get their own yarn that they would like. So our 3rd graders are working on these little cord wrapped rainbows. It's a good way to introduce fiber, but not necessarily needing to do like intense weaving or just something a little bit different. So we've talked about how we can wrap tightly. They use a little bit of tape to wrap, and then they take that to the next level by adding some embellishment. And actually these, we're gonna still do some pom-poms and gold and wrapping and all sorts of stuff, but they are kind of in progress. As we store them, I just have kiddos put all of their pieces separately in a paper bag with their name on it, and then put those in at the end of class. So I'm gonna wrap around my tape so that I keep it super duper tight, pull it all the way around, and then when I get to the end of one of my colors, you can either switch colors or you can get a new color. All right, so I'm gonna go all the way, keep it tight so that my cord does not get shown. So your goal is to make a few of your cords today, so you have at least probably 3 or 4, if not more, if you want a bigger rainbow. We still have about 2 minutes left of whispers. Friends at yellow, green, chairs and chair squares, head to carpet. Friends at blue, purple, chairs and chair squares, head to carpet. All right, these little pendants are pretty intense, but for the 1st grade friends, I really wanted them to practice just cutting and working with fiber and fabric and softer materials. And their goal was to really try to fill their space and to create an abstract pendant inspired a lot by Matisse, but you know, we just kind of had like fun playing with the soft sculpture. So they're gonna be really cool when they're up. I'm really excited about them. We did it. That just made me really dizzy. I have to do my end of the day dismissal, which makes me very official. But I just call kids out to be picked up by the cars. So I'm gonna go head out and do that, and we're almost done. All right, in from dismissal. I just had a little time to think about my day, and not gonna lie, y'all, Fridays are tough. Like, a lot of back-to-back classes for me, and it's just the end of the week and a lot of emotions with our little friends. I'm just being real with it. Like Fridays are tough. So I just wanted to remind you, if you have like a hard time teaching or you're kind of like feeling that frustration, that's okay. That's very normal, and I feel it too. But there were some really awesome parts of today. All right, friends, it is 4 o'clock and I am going to go. So this was a great Friday. Now I get to just turn off all my lights, the ones that I turned on today, and head home for the weekend. All right, see you Monday. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you like and subscribe to the Art of Education University so you can see more day in the life videos just like this one. See ya.